Okay.
Okay, are we good to go?
Yeah,
you're good.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome to our youth speaker series. I'm Shania. I'm from Grassy Narrows First Nation in Treaty 3, and I am Ojibwe.
Hi, everyone. My name is McKenzie, Ottereyes Eagle. I'm Cree from Waswanipi Cree Nation.
So we're just gonna do a little bit about us first. These are dogs. Niska is a chocolate lab, and Ember is a German shepherd. We're both super active and we like playing sports. We play a lot of hockey in the winter time. We go skiing. Right now, Mackenzie's golfing a lot and playing baseball.
Yeah, we just find ways to keep ourselves active in different times of the season. Like like what Shania said, in wintertime we like to play hockey just to keep in shape. Um, just to have something to do in the wintertime. In the summer, we both play baseball and yeah.
Mhm.
So for work and school, I've been living in North Bay about 14 years, currently attending university Nipissing, uh, doing my bachelor's of education. I just finished my first year and going into my second. I have a diploma in Indigenous Wellness and Addiction Prevention program and a Bachelor's of Arts degree in Indigenous Studies from Nipissing University. I'm currently at the Indigenous Hub for the summer. I'm on the cultural team. I'm a Skilbewas there, so we help out a lot. I help out a lot with like gathering medicines and um, just preparing for events that we host over there and um, like ceremonies and uh, feasts and stuff.
And I've been living in North Bay for about 2 years. So I moved in September, August. I think August of 2023. I graduated from Lakehead University in Thunder Bay with a Bachelor of Science in Nursing degree. Um, After I graduated, I went to work in Kenora, which is close to my community, as a labor and delivery nurse. And I did that for about 2 years until I moved here. And I'm working at the North Bay Regional Health Center on the surgical unit right now. And I also work at the North Bay Indigenous Hub, also at as a clinic nurse. So it's a lot of figuring out schedules on that end.
So how we stay involved in our culture. Uh, there isn't only one way to stay involved in our culture. There's so many ways you can do it. Whatever you feel comfortable in. Yeah, some people don't like to go inside, but it doesn't mean that you can't get involved in your culture in that way. You know, you can either sew regalia or um,
We'll go through it.
yeah,
We
we'll
have
go
some
through.
examples.
We got lots of examples.
So to start off, something that we do a lot is we've been fishing whenever we can to go, when I get to go back home on the English River system in Grassy Narrows. Um, as you can see, there's a lot of big fish there. In the bottom right, that's our friend. How many pounds is that? Like 10 pounds or something?
Uh, it was like 10 pounds and 29 inches,
Mm-hmm.
28 inches. It was actually the last we usually play this game when we're done fishing. Our last fish wins, and that was the last fish, the biggest fish, and it was pretty awesome to witness a trophy fish like that. being caught on grassy narrows territory, and it's such a beautiful territory they have over there, and then
Mhm.
the lakes. As you can see in the background of those some of the pictures, it's kind of smoky. It's because there was a forest fire nearby by the Nears Reserve, and
Mm.
it was kind of smoky, and then almost had smoked fish at this point. But yeah.
But yeah, and then something that I was introduced to when I moved here was smelting. So I'd never been smelting until I moved here. Something we did back home is we went in and we used our dip net to catch full walleye, but never these little smelts here and there.
Hmm.
They're actually pretty good. Mackenzie introduced me to that. But yeah, we like to do that just to keep the traditions alive and visit with family and friends.
For hunting and uh traditional teachings that are passed down to Shania and I. We both have different teachers, and um, when we do hunt, when we're out on the land, there's a huge responsibility, right? When we go out there, you have to respect the land. You can't just just throw garbage whenever you want, because we don't live there. We The animals that we harvest live there. So my dad always had this way of telling us that when when you throw garbage on the land, and he says that this is where they live, this is where they sleep, and he would tell me and my brother, how would you like it if I just threw my pop can or my chips everywhere or in your room where you feel comfortable? And would you like that? And we didn't obviously we said no, and so this is, you have to see it like that too. If someone came in your room, rearranged everything, would you like that? And that's the way I see it now, and we try to put things back the way we see it, where we saw it, and yeah.
Mm.
And uh when we do harvest, we do feed our families, feed the community as much as we can. It does take a lot of our time and energy, and it's tiring, but we love it so much that we just do it. So here we got some geese, and Shania here is holding a goose. And this is, I think it was your first goose at this area, I think,
Yeah,
right?
in this area.
Yeah. And then the second picture here, we're actually cleaning ptarmigan. Ptarmigan are these white partridge that we get up north back home in Waswanipi. These are they're a bit bigger, and we we harvested quite a bit, and we shared with the people in the area, and also doing traditional cooking is very special for me, and Shania as well. Uh, Here in the picture here, where I'm actually spinning a goose, where I was doing a sigabon. I was teaching teachers. There was a teacher retreat, and I got I got invited to teach how to cook goose over the fire, and this is one of my favorite styles of cooking traditional food. Is when we're cooking geese over the fire, and just the smell and the taste of the goose, and the grease that comes with the goose. It just there's nothing is wasted. I think I cooked three goose, three geese that week, and they were all gone. And the teachers, that was their first time ever eating geese like that, and they wanted more, and it was awesome to see how much they loved it. And then we made soup the next day with the leftover parts of the goose that we couldn't eat, so we made it into a soup, and that was gone. And yeah.
So I think that goes back to saying how we respect everything is there's no wasting any part of the animal. Everything goes to use when we go hunting. So you'll get to see later how we use our moose hide and everything like that too. And when we hunt and harvest our moose, nothing really gets left. We take all of it and we use it. And yeah, something about our we technically don't have hunting seasons, but we know when the appropriate times to hunt are. So a lot of springtime we'll go geese and duck hunting and then and smelting. And wintertime is mostly ptarmigan,
Yeah,
and
ptarmigan and
uh,
I guess trapping beaver at that
mhm.
time.
And then in the fall time is when we go for our moose hunt, or if you get deer,
Mhm.
that's about the time we do that as well. Another part we like to do is to go harvesting in the bush. So Mackenzie loves to pick berries. He's our best berry picker there is. Um, in the springtime, we harvest maple water and we'll make syrup out of it. So that's also something that takes a lot of time and effort, putting up all the buckets, checking on them every day. I think Mackenzie was gone for a week and I had to go after work after a 12-hour day at the hospital in the snow, and I trekked through the bush in my scrubs. So that was fun. And then boiling the syrup is another thing as well. So um once you boil syrup and everything, uh you're boiling, you had about a 300-liter pail, and we boiled it down and got about, I don't know,
18 liters on
18 liters
18 liters of sap.
of syrup.
That's a good year.
Mm-hmm.
We try to do is we have a limit because there's a lot of work and a lot of wood you have to gather, and we're super busy with our jobs and school, and so it's hard to like time that. And there's that saying of in Indian time, people see it as like, oh, you're late, oh, I'm on Indian time. The real term of that is that following the seasons, when to harvest, what time to harvest. Uh, Miska,
Let's go.
sorry, you spoke to bark at a dog. But yeah, so that's where that Indian time comes from, was the proper time of harvesting animals and medicines and collecting sap and stuff.
Mhm. And then also gathering wood for us to be able to
Stay warm and
stay
for
warm, and
food.
even boil the maple syrup takes time. So we
Mm.
like to do this. We like to carry on what was taught to us.
Um, on our spare time when we have a chance, we love to spend our time on the land and just have a fire and just cook tea and cook some moose meat on a fire. And it's one of my favorite things to do. I used to just go out in the bush with my dogs, and before Shania came into my life, that was something I just did regularly. I just went out in the bush with my friends and then just have the dogs run around and cook. And then Shania came over, and this is something that she was into too, and so it was just fit perfect. And this is something that we do in the winter time. We go snowshoeing as much as we can. It's a good workout, and I like to see it as a workout, because every time you're in the bush, you're moving your body, and you come home tired, and it's a good tired that you had a good day. And again, bring moose meat. If you don't have moose meat, it's okay. Sometimes if I don't have time to thaw out a moose meat, or I just go to the grocery store and grab
Some hot dogs.
some hot dogs or something, or chocolate milk and stuff. And it's a great way just to reconnect with yourself, grounding yourself, being out in the elements, rain or shine. We're always out there. I feel like, well, an elder once told me that there's no such thing as bad weather. There's always good weather, because we need these weathers to be able to have green leaves and good summers and winters. So no matter what's thrown at us, we're always out there, and you got to learn how to live, accept it.
Mhm. So now we can go into, so that way of our, what we talked about is kind of the traditional way that I grew up in. So we did a lot of stuff on the land, and I was around powwow, but I never really danced growing up. So this is something that we'll kind of share more about, and how Mackenzie introduced more powwow into my life. And we'll go into that here.
So for this dance style, this is a men. I dance the men traditional dance style. I've been dancing for 12 years. Um, over the years, like I didn't when I first started, I didn't have a whole lot, and over time I learned and spent time with people who made regalia and they taught me, and I kind of made my own style. I have a lot of teachers who taught me this style and teachings that came with it. The reason why I chose men traditional is because my when I first started to get into powwow, um, my dad told me we sat down together, we were just making something, and then I don't know, he brought out his old stuff that he used to harvest, like he had these muskrats and like otter and little minks. He had a bag of it, and he was telling me stories about what it was like living in the bush back then and his residential school days that when he went, and we shared some tears. And then to me, when he was talking about that, I was like, that's a warrior to my eyes. I was like, that's man, he's still here. He's spoke, he Cree is his first language, and now and then when he went to residential school, he learned English, and then he had to learn English, French. He learned French in residential school, and then English he just picked up. And it was just the way he was explaining things to me. I was like, I want to be this style, man, traditional. It's a warrior style, he's a warrior in that way, and I kind of made me want to become like him. So I kind of chose this style. Um, it's very it means a lot to me when I'm out there dancing. And the stuff that I have on my regalia, over the years I had different stuff, different symbols and flowers. But when I started to make my own stuff, I wanted to implement florals and teepees because it was something that I saw growing up in my community. In Waswanipi, was always teepee set up. There was always a smokehouse on someone's house in the backyard. So that's something I remember vividly as a kid. And florals were always there was always like moccasins and moose hide gloves. So that's something that I I wanted to put because I wanted to dance for my community. I wanted to dance for the elders who and ones who can't dance anymore. Even though powwow is not popular in my community, I just want my people to know that I'm dancing for them out there, and this is who I am. This is who I'm representing is myself and my people.
And I started dancing 3 years ago. I'm a jingle dress dancer. Um, I think someone who really inspired me the most and who pushed me to actually dance was McKenzie. Um, we would always go to these places and I'd tag along, I'd do everyone's hair and get them ready, but then I would kind of sit back and watch the powwows, which was fine for me. But after a while I was like, maybe I want to do that. And I had a lot of close friends that were powwow dancers and stuff. So it really helped me to kind of segue into the powwow circle and keep dancing. So why did I choose to be a jingle dress dancer? Again, like I am from Treaty 3. And the jingle dress does originate from that area in Whitefish Bay. A lot of my friends are from Whitefish, so I've kind of grown up hearing the story and it's super popular within the area. So I didn't really think twice about dancing jingle, and also I couldn't be a fancy shawl dancer because I can't move my feet that fast. Um, and yeah, so I think the teachings that I grew up with regarding the dress, so again, it originated from Whitefish Bay and Truly 3, and the dress actually came from a dream from this her name was Maggie White, and she was sick as a young girl, and her grandpa actually had a dream about this dress, and he gave it to her, and he made this dress. he put these cones that you can see on there, made them out of these, what are they, tobacco lids? Tobacco lids, rolled them up and showed her how to dance. And as she started to dance and as she wore this dress, it actually healed her from what she was sick from. So that's why it's called the healing dress. And it's to be worn in a certain way and danced in a certain way. And it's nice to see how many jingle dress dancers there are now, because it was it was just kind of recently brought into the powwow circle by Milky White. Anything else to touch on that? Not really. So we did bring some pieces of our outfits. A lot of it is made either like handmade materials.
Yeah.
It's made of natural elements, and we're always creating them when we have a positive mindset.
Yeah, so just the stuff that we show you, that these are like things that we really value a lot. And some of the stuff that we can't make sometimes, so we have other people who make them. So we kind of we we ask our friends that, oh, could you make this for us? And then we we exchange a gift, or sometimes it's for sale, so we buy it. Um, like stuff here, like I have a shaker here. This is my shishigon. This is a Cree style shaker. This usually these are like kind of smaller, and they're kind of meant for like ceremonies, and now they're kind of used for like little baby shakers, rattles. And this is what I use a lot when I'm dancing. So as you can see in that picture, in most of my pictures, I have this, and I have been dancing with this for quite some time now. And it wasn't as white as you can see in that picture, but it has a little color now, and it has a little bit of has a little story behind it. And yeah, and it's just one of my favorite things that I kind of, it stands out. And a lot of people ask me, what is that? It looks like a drum you're carrying. And they come closer and they hold it. It's a shaker. Yeah, this is what I tell my story with. It's just and you know what, and even when I'm dancing for contests, when I get nervous, everyone gets nervous for a contest, because you just do, like, you feel these butterflies. And I like to shake it, like kind of rub it, or like rub the shake around my body, just to get rid of that. And it just helps me kind of stay calm and focus, and get tuned in with myself. And yeah, it's just one of my favorite things. It's one of my methods that I do when I'm dancing.
Mhm.
And then here I got a roach. This is one of my roaches. This is one of my babies, I call. This is made out of porcupine hair. This is real porcupine hair.
Dear.
And yeah, deer. So the color here, this is deer hair. Some people use horse hair, and it's dyed. Deer doesn't look like this. This is a deer from north. It's blue. They get blue hair with them, but no. So yeah, here we got some quill work. This is called a scalp lock. This is also from porcupine. So they dyed the quills, and they kind of make designs out of it. And here are some feathers that I have. These are black tips from a golden eagle, from a immature golden eagle. And this is what it looks like when I'm dancing. You rock your head, and you're just kind of, yeah. And what these two represent here, these actually represent two warriors uh, fighting each other in a battle. But when I'm teaching students, I don't like to use that as an example. I usually say two dancers dancing against each other, and I like to use this, like, yeah, this is me and my brother dancing against each other, just to compete, and like stay in shape, and keep up with the beat, and keep up with each other. And it's important that way for us to keep and to stay healthy and that stuff. And then here I got my cuffs. These are my cuffs. This is what goes in on my hand here. Comes like this, and usually I have my number here. And yeah, this is some stuff that I was talking about. We got the TP, and you got some florals here. Um, and this is moose hide that I have here. Um, yeah, And I think if you guys noticed, but on previous slide, I think two slides ago, there's a picture of me dancing. I have some moose tracks, and I put moose tracks because that's something that I love doing is moose hunting, and that's a very special time of the year. And it's like we go out on the land to harvest the moose when they're most dangerous. It's when they're in rut, when they're ready to find a mate, and they're really aggressive with each other. And it's a very special time for a lot of people when they're going moose hunting because it's the biggest animal out there, and we harvest it and we share the meat with the community and our friends and family. And that's why I put it out there because it's a special animal, and I like to honor them. And I think it's
And I just brought some of my stuff too. McKenzie got me these moccasins kind of when I first started dancing, so they're pretty special to me. Again, with the florals, he likes to keep with the theme, and I really like them. They're made by Ariel and Nakaji in the community. And then we also have different shells that I dance with. These are dentalium shells. These are different type with a bunch of old school trade beads that we found in Manitoba, in Winnipeg. So those are super near and dear to me. Then I have one of my dresses here. Oh, so this is one of the dresses I made. But this one has a little bit of significance because these cones, all the little cones on there were given to me by his mom. And what happened was she was at a powwow with his late dad, I guess, in Quebec, and found these cones and just kept them for however long. I don't even know when.
like 30 years.
30 years. And she gifted them to me, I think last year. And she said, here you go, you can make a dress. So this one's really special because there's a bunch of old cones that have some significance. See them on there. And then we also go and, like I said, we make a lot of our stuff ourselves. So I like to sew. I make a lot of skirts and jingle dresses, and I make McKenzie shirts and stuff like that. Um,
Yeah, just when we have time again, like again, you're gonna hear that we've heard that quite a bit already in the presentation is when we have time is we try to do some crafting, and it's a good skill to have. I feel like when we do make our own stuff, you appreciate it more. The stuff here, like there's some of the beadwork here I've done over the years. I've made stuff for people here in the top here with the two cones. Those are for the roach spreader. So that's kind of like what's up top here. This is what the feathers go in there, and I beaded mine like something similar. And it takes a lot. It takes a lot of time to do this type of style. This is called a peyote stitch. I learned this from an old teacher of mine when I was at school here, when I was in high school at Nabizing. We had a lady who would come in from Alberta, and she would teach us all kinds of craft styles. And that's how I kind of got in. Another reason why I got into pop because I found someone who can make regalia, and she kind of taught me all these other tricks, how to sew things. And yeah, and at the time too, I was a high school student. I didn't have a job, and I was living on my own, and I had to find ways to make money to get food. So I would bead a lot. I was beading, and the feathers down there, those are from I beaded a set of feathers for this guy from Saskatchewan. He was a medicine man, and he saw my work, and my name went kind of made it out there, and he said, I like this guy's work, so he reached out and said, I got feathers, and I met him at a powwow, and then he just kind of gave them to me, and I met him again, and I mailed them off, and yeah, I just love doing things like, or you just learn how to appreciate your own stuff, your own work. And then I got into belt making. I used to make belts a lot. Um, I had to be really creative. I just saw my buddy Will Hedgepath make belts, and I want to learn how to do that too, because that's something I'm kind of into. I'm like, I like these tedious stuff. And so I got into belt making. I got pretty good at it. And as I got older and I went to school and I was getting a job, I didn't have enough time to work on that stuff. So I was spending time out on the land, and then I was playing hockey or baseball, or spending time with Shania and work, school, and just all these things. And then also having Shania is also a big part of my uh, the stuff that I wear, because she makes a lot of my shirts and my aprons that I wear, and she's really good at it. And I just love how she makes them, and it's a unique, very unique style. And a lot of people ask, "Where'd you get your shirt? How made your shirt?" It's all my partner made my shirt, and I see people out there making the same style shirts, and it's pretty cool to see that. And yeah.
Yep. So where powwow takes us. So we've been a lot of places. We've traveled all across the states. We've been to North Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin. We went to Kansas last year in this top right photo. Um, and the bottom left one, that was us in New Brunswick. And then on the bottom right, that was us at not Onion Lake,
No,
but
Morley, Alberta.
Morley, Alberta, which was really pretty, all the mountains in the background and
Mhm.
stuff.
Yeah, just these places. Powwow has brought us far. We actually first met at a powwow. It
Mm-hmm.
was the middle picture that you see. That's the first time we ever danced together.
And someone caught it on camera.
Yeah, we got
Yep.
exposed, but then and yeah, and it's brought us everywhere. Even with the drum, I also sing with a group called Battle Nation and Under the Pines, and other drum groups that asked me to help, and it's brought me places. My drum teacher, Blair Bocage, Tori Fisher, Brennan Governor, those are like my main teachers. They've always said that, you take care of the drum will take care of you. It will bring you places that you would never expect to be in life.
Mhm.
And which is true, because I never thought I would be in Kansas out of all places. And then there we were in Kansas. We got invited as a drum group, and then we went out there. We sang for the people. We competed, and it was such a blessing to be able to go to these places and see different things. And saw buffalo, and then the picture here in Morley, we saw wild horses just running around, and it was really cool to see that mountains, and it was awesome.
Yeah,
It's an awesome way of life.
takes us everywhere. Okay, so why do we go dance and go travel all of these places? And even though it's like traveling isn't cheap, so like we have to, it is a commitment to go places. Um, but I guess you can speak on why you dance and who you dance for.
Like I like mentioned earlier, like I dance for um my community, but I don't just dance for my community. I dance for myself. Most importantly, I dance for myself, because you are the driver, and you are the person that's navigating yourself to get to these places. And I'm sometimes I just want to go, we'll go. And um I dance for all kinds of reasons, but like I said, most importantly for yourself. I do want to experience the world. It's something that I'm very adventurous that way. I'll go walk in the bush as far as I can just to see where the next lake is, and I want to go to the next powwow to see how far I can dance. You know, one of the reasons why I like going to powwows is I get to meet new people, learn different cultures, different tribes of their way of living and their style. And some places will have like their how their lodging used to be. Like if you this 2 weekends ago, I went to Sarnia, and they had their wigwam, and they had this longhouse. They had a longhouse made out of birch bark, and it was thick birch bark, and it was really cool. It was like the way they made it, and that's how they used to stay in that and those longhouses. And and that's where they did their ceremony, their gatherings, their council meetings and stuff like that. And it was really cool. And then you go more south northwest, you see these teaching lodges, and they're long and they're same style almost, but it's pretty cool. And then you go back home where I'm from, you get these shopstones where this is elongated teepee. We get two teepees kind of put together, and yeah, and just visiting with friends and family, and just seeing people work together.
We get to see all our nieces and nephews grow up. That's little Stetson in the top right photo.
You kind of create a family,
Yeah.
and it's really important who you hang around with. These are the main people that we hang around with, because we support each other. You know, they're creating their family. We get to be there and watch their young ones take their first steps on the powwow, and in the powwow circle, and it's just such a blessing, you know. And yeah.
Mm-hmm. And we just wanted to touch on, so we go to some traditional powwows, but a lot of the times a lot of competition powwows are taking us to these places. But something that I think that McKenzie will always be really humble about is how he stays true to his values. He's super humble. He won't show off or be posting on Facebook when he wins in his category, or if he wins a special type thing, um because it's for him, it's for the ones who can't dance anymore. He definitely has a unique style, and he likes to show it off wherever we go. um and like I said before too, like powwow is pretty expensive, so anything that he wins kind of pays for a hotel or her gas and our dogs to stay in the kennel, because it all adds up. So really when we go, it's not so much about the money, but more so just like he said, to create those connections and to visit with everyone and, you know, have a fun weekend for ourselves. And something we get asked a lot is, how do we do it? With us working, I work two jobs. I'll do a couple shifts at the hospital, 12-hour shifts, and then I'll finish off the week at the clinic during the day. We have this calendar that we live off of. It's the only way we can stay organized, and there's no way we could do without it. Um, I switch a lot of shifts around so that we can go away for the weekend. Um, and yeah, if it takes working a couple more hours here or there to get the weekend off, then that's what we'll do. And something that we always make sure of is that if we can't get off work, or if there's something for Mackenzie's school, like I know he wants to go to this big powwow in, was it Saskatchewan? This
Alberta.
Alberta this fall, but he has school and he'll be in placement, so he knows
It,
that he has to make sure he does that first. Um, and that's just,
Sacrifices really come, like you you get put in these situations where you have to make a decision what's more important, and Shania has really taught me that. And sometimes I'm just got sometimes having a communication is so important. Shania has taught me that as well. You, you can't Things won't run well or smooth if you don't have communication or uh, uh proper schedule. And yeah, and I thank Shania for that too. And she's like she mentioned before, she's a nurse. She works 12-hour shifts, night shifts. Like next week she's working 6 night shifts or 8 night shifts in a row, and then we're gonna go pow after. And I'm like, oh, I have to drive. I gotta take care of her. I usually make, or when she has day shifts, I usually make supper, you know, so we can go to a powwow. Uh, yeah, so we just like to take care of each other in that way. It's really really important. There's no in between. You gotta work together as a team, and some people do it on their own, and I salute them for that, because they want to be there, and they'll make the time and sacrifices to go there. And some people live off it, and they're comfortable that way, and they make it work. For us, we're not everywhere, but we love to do things. Like here in this picture, Shania played a hockey tournament that weekend. And she just finished night shift actually, and then we drove up to Manitoulin Island to play in a tournament, and then her team took it down, and it was and then she went back to work that Monday. It was crazy. And I was like, how do you do it? And it's you got to have the mindset and the will to go do it, and that's which is what she has. Sometimes she's the man in hour sometimes, and he's like, I don't know how she does it. um yeah, like it's just communication, I would say, is probably one of the first things that come. That's one.
And yeah, that wraps up our presentation. If anyone has any questions at all about what we talked about, feel free.
I'll let anyone that has any questions that is on right now, if they'd like to ask, they can either ask it in the chat or they can unmute. And if anyone doesn't have any questions, I have some questions from the registration form.
Don't have a show problem.
Okay, we have one in. Oh. Okay, so this one is for Shania. What is your most precious piece of your regalia?
Other than my dress, because I need a dress to kind of look put together and to be a jingle dress dancer, it would probably be the moccasins he got me. They just hold a lot of value for me. And I think it was one of those things where it kind of solidified me feeling put together and being able to go out there and dance confidently. When I first started, I just had these little moccasins that weren't the nicest, but they did the trick. So it was nice once I got my first beaded pair, and I feel like with my dress, my belt, and my moccasins, I'd go dance. I don't need all the extra bead work or anything like that. I just need those three things.
And then this one's for McKenzie. Who taught you your dance style?
Um, I have a lot of teachers who taught me different things to work on. I don't really have a specific teacher. I, I saw a lot of good dancers, and I have a couple idols that I look up to in the way they dance, and I uh kind of use what they have and implement it into my style, kind of shaped it to my way of dancing. Um, yeah, it just there's this even comes down to younger ones too with a lot of energy, and they just have this they're going down and they're going coming up again and quick moves, and yeah, it's just I like watching everyone dance, and I'm just inspired. It makes me want to do that too, so I do it and I try to put my own style in there. Yeah.
There's one in the chat. Do you have any advice for youth who want to reconnect with their culture but don't know where to start?
I guess it all depends what type of culture you want to get into. So that's a big question. Um, so for friendship centers, usually depends where you are. Friendship centers will have a lot of resources. So they'll have drum nights, they'll have beating nights, and I know at the friendship center here in North Bay, they usually during around September they'll start drum practices, and then you could either come dance or sing, practice dancing or singing, and then downstairs they would have beating nights, so you can go downstairs and learn how to beat, and start beating little things, and then eventually you could start beating your regalia or whatever what you want to get into. But for dancing, I think you have to go. You don't have to go to powwows to learn how to dance. You just go right off YouTube. That's where that's what when I first started, I didn't have the money to travel, but I went on YouTube. I just watched videos and I said, oh, I like this guy. And then eventually I saw him in real life, like, man, I couldn't keep my eyes off because he was so good. And it just kind of inspired me, dancing in my room, and I'd be dancing. As soon as I get up, I'll start dancing. It's just, I have friends who have stories McKenzie, man, he just nonstop dancing no matter where he is, like at school or he's at work or he's just dancing everywhere. And it's just in me now, always working on myself and always watching videos and watching friends like, oh, he was dancing this weekend in North Dakota. I'm gonna go watch some YouTube and I see him dancing. Like, oh man, I wish I was there.
Yeah. And just feel free, like if anyone has questions, they can always message us or message someone that they think is familiar of what they're interested in, because the worst they can say is I don't know or no, but no one's gonna shame you for asking a question.
Mm.
Okay, so that's the rest of the questions from the registration form, because the other ones you answered in your presentation. I'll just give one more opportunity for anyone that's still on. If they have any questions, you can either ask it on the chat or you can unmute. And there's another one here, McKenzie. Who are your mentors?
I have a lot of mentors for different parts of my life, for work, say for work. And well, first one, being a being a good person, let's say my dad, my late dad was definitely a very kind person, and he has that kind soul in him that he just never had nothing bad to say about someone, or he just carried himself um so highly and peacefully that that's something that I carry myself. I carry that in my bundle. For work, for getting things that I want in life. Um, I have like Tori Fisher, uh, uh, Paul White, Shania's dad is one of them that I look up to. Deverick Ottereyes, uh, someone that someone that's from my community. Um, yeah, and then for, I don't know, and for dancing, there's a lot of people I can name off of, at least 12 people. First one is my good friend Dwight Littlejohn. The way he dances is something that catches my eye every time. And then I got my buddy Noden Akwash, who's just like someone just like me, and hyper and active ready, and his style kind of sticks with me. And then I got my friends that are woodland dancers from Sault Ste. Marie, the three brothers. You got Noden, Mish, and Aquam. Like, they're just their style and their passion of dancing and passion of sharing culture and love and teaching people about old Indian tricks is what I call them, but they just have knowledge about how to make things, how to make snowshoes, how to make um, baskets, and like where to find certain medicines, stuff like that. And then another one is being responsible and being on time and following a schedule. Is my partner Shania here is a big inspiration of mine, and that's my biggest idol. Um, where I am today, she's one of the reasons why I'm here. She's a big supporter, and growing up, I was living alone, and Shania taught me what it's like to have a big support in your life, and someone who loves watching you, and Mr. Shania supports me in all kinds of ways, even golfing.
Okay, I think that's all for questions. If you have any more questions, you can always reach out to me and I can forward it to Shania. Kaylin has a question. Go ahead, Kaylin.
Okay, it's not really a question. I just wanted to say miigwech for joining and sharing. And it was really awesome to see you two on here. and I've been looking forward to it all week. So I'm so happy you guys came here, and I learned a lot. And I'm very excited to continue learning from you two because I learn a lot from you two, especially over the last 2 years. So I just want to say miigwech.
Miigwech.
Miigwech for watching. Also, shout out to Kaylin. She was one of the best goalies when I was playing hockey in high school.
I can vouch for that because there was one time I was at a tournament with Shania, and then I heard these girls, well, I guess Shania's friends, and then
Mhm.
they brought up Kaylin's name, and oh, she was so good, man. Like, really.
Mhm.
Then one time they asked, like, we should call her up there. Does she even play anymore? And yeah, it was pretty funny. Well, I know that, like, I know her, man. It's like, you
Mhm.
know her? Yeah, I freaking lives in Nipissing. And it was just awesome to hear like someone that I know from Nipissing, you know, being recognized for their skill and their hard work as a hockey player, as a female hockey player, and it's awesome.
Mhm.
Miigwech. That's awesome.
Alright, I'll stop recording.